Alrighty, guys, welcome back to Keith's Hot Takes. And on today's show, I got my guy C. Ruff on the show, and we're going to preview the conference championship games. We're going to talk about Coach Prime and Colorado, their schedule drop. So we're going to kick off by talking about their record for this year. We're going to predict how we think they're going to do this year. And Dion got a big time commit to flip from Miami. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about Winston State's road woes here in 2023. So, C. Ruff, my guy, how you doing today?
Doing all right, Keith. How are you?
I'm doing good, bro. And as you guys see, my background today is Dak and Zeke, the crying Jordan meme after Dak broke my heart again after the way he played Sunday. We're gonna get into that. But before we do all that, let's talk about Colorado's schedule, Ruff. So after looking at the schedule that dropped, I think it was about a week or so ago. How many games do you think Coach Prime will win in his first season at Colorado? Because they have a very brutal schedule in his first season.
You know what? It's still hard to tell. They play 12 games. Is that correct?
Yes, 12. Yes, 12.
Okay. And I believe they were 2-10 last year, which is awful.
1-11. You gave him another win.
So he's definitely done some good things so far this off season, as you would call it. Um, bringing Travis and flipping that recruit, as you said. But it's still too early to tell, what they're going to be able to do. Even if I knew the full roster construction at this point, I wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you how, what their record's going to be. You got to kind of see them on the field, see how well people mesh, and see this the system that they run. Also, does he bring in a different system, or are they more pass heavy, or run heavy? So it's going to be interesting, but they definitely right now I can definitely tell you they will be improved. I will go out on a limb. They'll be improved, and I think drastically. Now, I can't really say, but if I had to guess based on what I'm saying, with them being much better, I would say, what, man, if they go 6-6 this year, you can't really be mad at that. In the first year,
You can't. No.
going from 1-11 to 6-6 will be a win. So I'm gonna go out on an early prediction and say 6-6, maybe even 7-5.
That's crazy because that's what I wrote down for mine. Because looking here at their schedule, they open up at TCU September the 2nd. That's going to be tough. We have to see who all TCU brings back. They open up conference play at Oregon. That's never a easy place to win. USC, they have them the following Saturday. That's going to be a big time game. Caleb Williams, he's probably going to be the Heisman favorite next year. So they're going to be really talented. As I go down towards the end of October at UCLA, that's going to be tough. Uh, the following week, they have Oregon State November 4th. That's going to be a tough game. And then they close at Washington State on a Friday, November 17th. And then they close at Utah the following week. So I think their conference schedule will tell us a lot about how they do, how good they'll be. So we'll see how good that this team will be based off how they play in the Pac-12, which is going to be really loaded this year. So I'm agreeing with you. I think 6-6 or 7-5. I think that's the record that they'll have. And getting Kamani McLean to flip for Miami, that was huge for Dion because he's going to have two of the best corners in college football. And when you have to play offenses like Oregon, USC, Washington State, Utah, UCLA, so you're gonna need some talented corners. So I was glad that Dion has done such a great job so far, and I can't wait to see what he does as we continue with recruits still can commit to Colorado. So I'm intrigued to see how much better Dion gets. And I can't wait to see, like you said, what kind of system they run. I know they're bringing the coach from Toledo over. So I think Toledo was kind of pass heavy. So we'll have to see what kind of offense they run at, this year. All right, so now we're gonna move to segment two, and we're gonna talk about Ramily Only. So first, let's go ahead and drop the intro, and then when we come back, we're gonna answer the question: should Ram fans be concerned about the men's basketball team's road woes lately? They're 1-3 on the road in 2023. So after the intro drops, we'll be back to discuss that.
21, can you do something for me? 21. Can you
Alrighty, guys. So welcome back to Ramily Only, and me and Ruff, we're gonna talk about if we're concerned about our men's basketball team, Winston State. The way they've been playing lately, losing on the road, Ruff. Our veteran players just haven't, stepped up on the road this year. As we know, we started at Virginia State. That was going to be a tough, tall task coming off a 2 week layoff, having played. They probably didn't practice much. Virginia State, they had played in the Virgin Islands or somewhere like that at the end of December, so they weren't as rusty as we were. We didn't shoot well that night. At Virginia State, they made almost everything that they shot that night, so it was hard to win that game. Then we lost to Shaw. That's probably the best game that we've had during this, you know, streak on the road where we haven't played well. We shot 50% that game, and then we came back and beat Elizabeth City. But last Wednesday when we played Claflin, we didn't shoot well. I think it was like 25% or something really bad like that. So, Ruff, how concerned are you about the way our men's basketball team is playing away from seed games?
I wouldn't even say I'm concerned. I would say there is a level of caution though.
Caution. Okay.
Caution is my term. I think that you have to look at the film if you the coaching staff and the players got to figure out what are we doing possibly different on the road. Are there certain things that it's causing us to play so flat on the road? Whether it's your sleep schedule, whether it's your pregame meals, uh, whatever the case may be, you got to look at those things and try to figure out how you can change that. Because we do know that the Sea Games Center is unmatched. You know,
That's true.
that level of fandom, that level of support is unmatched. And so, when they're on the road, they got to try to account for that. And it's hard to do. So one thing I would like to challenge the Rams to do, if you're able to go to some of these road games, take your talent on the road and go and watch and support the teams, and hopefully they'll get back on track. It's a long season. I'm not necessarily concerned at this point, but we definitely got a lot back in, and get back on track.
Definitely. So yes, like you said, we definitely need a lot back in. As I'm looking here, from the last road game, Isaac Parsons shot 3 of 14. He's got to shoot better than that. Jalen Austin, 3 of 10. He's got to be much better than that. Xavier Fennell, he was 1 for 4. He's got to be better. Jalen Gibson was 0 of 6. He didn't score at Claflin. Samaj Hill was 3 of 8, and Jonathan Hicklin was one from 4 from the field, and he only had 3 points. So, like you said, we need to figure out something that we're doing wrong. Look at the film and figure out what's going on, so we can play better. Because we have some tough road games remaining on our schedule at Livingstone Saturday. That's going to be a tough place to go in. They play really well at home. We know that's going to be a hostile environment Saturday. Then we play at Bluefield State on February 1st. That's our last non-conference game of the year at St. Aug, February 4th. And then at Fayetteville State, our last road game of the year, February 11th. So I'm hoping we can do much better in these last little stretch of road games we have. Obviously, these are some very tough places to go and win, but I'm hoping our veterans step up and they start playing better. I heard that Jalen Gibson is dealing with a hand injury. So I mean that can obviously be very difficult to kind of play through. But I hope it slowly heals. Because at home it seems like every home game you're putting a video up of him dunking on somebody at Claire. So like you said, playing in games is unmatched. So I feel like on the road we don't have as many fans that travel to these different games. So they kind of got to bring their own energy per se. I know it's kind of hard when everybody's against you. So you don't have the energy that you would have at home where we've only lost one game, and so that's something to look at, and hopefully, like you said, maybe not be concerned, but it is something to be cautious about because 1-3 on the road to start the new year is something to kind of be alarmed about. So we shall see. Good luck to them tomorrow night as they take on John C. Smith at home. That's a good old South rivalry. So that's going to be a good game, and then hopefully they handle business this weekend at Livingstone. So let's go ahead and preview our conference championship games now. Our first game is going to be the NFC championship game between the San Francisco 49ers and they're going to be at the Philadelphia Eagles. Ruff, how do you see this game playing out? Two of the most complete and deepest teams left in the playoffs. Uh, both teams have great defenses and both teams have really great offenses where they neither one of them really has a weakness. So how do you see our first championship matchup playing out?
It's gonna be a dogfight, man. It's gonna be one to really, um, tune into. I think that both teams have playmakers on both sides of the ball, like you said. When you talk about the Eagles, you have Jalen Hurts at quarterback, who we know is dynamic, can beat you in the run game, can beat you passing the ball. You got weapons like Devontae Smith, uh, AJ Brown, Dallas Goedert is a good tight end. Miles Sanders can do stuff on the ground and in the air. So their offense is legit. Then when you talk about San Francisco's offense, you have Brock Purdy, who has shown amazing poise. He's a rookie, has not played most of the year, but due to injury, he got an opportunity. And I heard earlier that he is got 14 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in 7 games.
Wow.
So that's what you need. Is he's not doing anything special, but I would rather somebody that's steady and make smart decisions than a guy that's gonna blow you away every now and then, but it's just throwing the ball away. It reminds me of Jameis Winston. I've always said Jameis Winston is one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. But what does it mean if you're gonna have 5,000 yards, but you're gonna have 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions too? I mean, then you minimize mistakes. That's what the great quarterbacks do. If you want to be successful, especially when it's playoff time, you got to minimize mistakes. And so, like I said, man, it's going to be a dogfight. When you talk about defensive side of the ball, Nick Bosa, Brandon Graham, Darius Slay. I mean, you got playmakers, man. You really do. Fred Warner. I'm looking forward to that game. I really am. I just think that it's going to come down to what I said. Basically, who makes the most or the least mistakes. Can Brock Purdy continue to take care of the football the way that he has? If he does, I think they have a good chance to win.
I feel that. So who do you have winning our first matchup?
Ooh.
Yeah, that's tough. I know.
You want my head answer or my heart?
Which one you think would be best?
So my head says Philly. I think Philly wins it in a close one, but my heart wants San Francisco to win it. I'm not really a Philly fan being a win that division.
Yes.
I don't want them to win, but I think Purdy's good play might come to an end this week. Now, I wouldn't be surprised either way, though. I think it's going to be a very close game. Something like 27-24.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ask me who I was putting my money on, who I would put my money on, I would say Philly.
Okay, I can totally understand that. Like you said, I'm also taking the Eagles. But I wouldn't be upset if the 49ers beat them because I can't stand their fans. Like you said, they're in our division. I don't want the Eagles to win another Super Bowl because I would never hear the end of it. But like you said, both teams are really talented. I'm really intrigued to see both teams have very talented deep defensive lines who get a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks. And both of these teams have two of the best offensive lines in the league. Now, I think the 49ers have their line is a little. They have some holes in their line. As we saw last week, Micah was able to get a lot of pressure on the tackle opposite of Trent Williams. Now Trent Williams, he's the best left tackle in football. There's no debate about that. But their right tackle, I think the Eagles, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, like you said, Sweat. Not. They have a defensive named Sweat, don't they? As well, don't they?
Yeah.
Eagles. Yes. Okay. Yes. Sweat. Um, so yeah, I think the Eagles will be able to get a little more pressure on Brock Purdy, and I think he may make a mistake that may cost the 49ers because the Cowboys had chances on defense where he made some risky throws that if the Cowboys, capitalize and pick those balls off, we're having a different conversation right now. So I think the Eagles are going to kind of copy what the Cowboys did on defense. The Cowboys got a lot of pressure on Brock Purdy last week. Uh, Surprisingly, they were able to shut down Christian McCaffrey and Debo, which was surprising because Debo and McCaffrey, they're big splash players. They take little routes and runs, and they have big splash plays off of them. So can the Eagles shut the 49ers run game down? Because the 49ers have a very dynamic and complex run game. So the Eagles will definitely need to shut that down. I don't think the Eagles will be able to run the ball on the 49ers like they did the Giants. Because the 49ers haven't given up a 100-yard rusher since Justin Fields last season in October. I think it was October 31st. So uh, that's going to be intriguing to see if the Eagles are able to run the ball on the 49ers, especially their front seven, which is really good. And how I was able to decide who I thought was going to win this game is I think the Eagles secondary is a lot better than the 49ers secondary. Uh, I think the 49ers, if you're able to hold up against their front seven, which is they put a lot of pressure on you, Fred Warner, Greenlaw, and all the guys that they rotate in on the defense line, if you can hold up against them, I think you'll be able to move the ball on their secondary. So I think Philly's gonna win. I think it's gonna be like the Cowboys 49ers game. I think it's gonna be low scoring because both defenses are really good. I'm intrigued to see if Nick Bosa and that defensive line can put some pressure on Jalen Hurts because the Eagles' offensive line, you just don't see them giving up a lot of pressure on their quarterback. So that'll be something to watch. So yeah, this is gonna be a great game, like you said. I just can't wait to see how it's gonna play out. Let's talk about our AFC Championship game. Now we got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs. Ruff, will Joe Burrow beat Patrick Mahomes for a fourth straight time?
Mm.
Ooh,
You know, I went back and forth about this.
I did too.
It's hard to beat anybody four straight times like that, especially when you're talking about Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. But I don't like the fact that Patrick Mahomes got hurt.
Oh yeah, that was bad too.
That is not good for his mobility. Patrick Mahomes is not Justin Fields. He's not Lamar Jackson by any means, but he will creep up on you. You'll think that you're getting ready to get back there and stop him, and then he'll get loose for that 5 or 10 yards that you need. Like I said, it's not going to be 30 or 40 most of the time, but he'll move the chains every now and then. Exactly. And he's one that also, even when he's not looking to run, he does escape. He keeps the play alive. Patrick Mahomes will run around 3 seconds back there and then find somebody for the throw. Yeah. With him being hampered, I just don't know if he's going to be able to do that. I don't know if, he's going to be able to avoid them sacks. Cincinnati has some great defensive players. Jermaine Pratt out of High Point, stand up. You got I done went blank. What's my other
Reader?
guy?
You talking about Reader? DJ Reader from Greensboro?
One of my cousins know him. So yeah, DJ Reader out of Greensboro, Grimsley High School. I just, man, yeah, I'm scared of that injury for Mahomes. So I'm going with the Bengals. I think that the Bengals will win this game something like 31-28.
Okay.
Or 31, something like that.
Okay. Okay, yeah. With Mahomes having a high ankle sprain, I'm afraid that the Bengals defensive coordinator is going to put a lot of pressure on him. He's going to blitz Mahomes a lot because where is he going to go? Because, like you said, Patrick Mahomes is a special quarterback. He makes a lot of off-script plays, like he'll roll out the pocket and just run around and wait for Kelsey or one of his receivers to get open. Um, but I'm afraid that he's not going to be able to do that. And I'm concerned about them being able to protect Mahomes because Hinton, I think he plays safety. They'll send him on blitz. They'll be very creative how they send him and stuff like that. So I think that's going to be concerning. Will the Bengals be able to run the ball like they did on Buffalo? Because I was shocked. I thought Buffalo was going to be able to get a lot of pressure on Joe Burrow without the offensive lineman that he was missing. But they were pretty quiet. They didn't really put any pressure on Joe Burrow. He was able to sit back there and make his reads and go where he wanted to. So Chris Jones, they're gonna have to find a way to block him for sure if they want to move the ball and run the ball like they did. Uh, but it comes down to me that the Bengals, they that three-headed monster that they have a receiver, Chase, Higgins, and Boyd, man, that's scary. And Hayden Hurst, he had some big plays last week for Burrow when they started creeping up on Chase. So that was huge. Uh, so I just don't think the Chiefs will be able to be the same with Mahomes being nicked. I think they'll have to lean on that run game. And like you said, DJ Reader, you're not going to be able to run the ball with him in the middle because he clogs it up. And the Bengals are really underrated on defense. So I have them going back to the Super Bowl. And I'm a little scared about this pick, but I'm going to take the Bengals. I think it's going to be the Bengals and the Eagles. But Patrick Mahomes, you can never count him out because he always finds a way. And it's just gonna be hard to see somebody beating him four straight times. But with him being hurt, unfortunately, that tackle it was kind of unnecessary. The guy kind of put his weight down on his ankle, so that was kind of unnecessary, and this kind of changed the trajectory of this game. So it's just really unfortunate. But we should have two good games Sunday. Hopefully, both of them are close. I don't want no blowouts or anything like that. And yeah, I'm really excited. Looking forward to Sunday.
Bengals. See, and that's what you deal with when you're going up against a team like them. Jamar Chase. Do you play Jamar Chase 1-on-1 and let him go for 8-9 for 150? Or do
Sure.
you try to, have help on him and then you have guys like T. Higgins who can now exploit you. Tyler Boyd can exploit you. Hayden Hurst, like you said. And even Trent Irwin, I'll make a play here and there. So, it's kind of hard to, you got to pick your poison on that. Do you want to try to neutralize Jamar Chase or do you want to play him straight up and deal with the risk of him destroying you? So the Bengals, like you said, they have the more complete team, in my opinion. It's no question about it. The Cincinnati Bengals have a better roster from top to bottom than the Kansas City Chiefs. And so it's just going to come down to, late game execution. I think it'll be close, like we've said. When which quarterback is able to make a play.
For sure. And they have a good scheme for Kelsey because it seems like they do a good job limiting him. And one thing that Burrow did last week, he was spreading it out. I think like at one point in the game, he had threw like nine completions to six different receivers. So, like you said, if you creep up on Chase, he's not afraid to go to somebody else because he has so many weapons. So that's something that the Chiefs are gonna have to figure out. But their defensive coordinator, he does a great job, of coming up with schemes when the team is getting some momentum and stuff like that. He does a great job of finding ways to kind of slow them down. So it's going to be really interesting to see the chess matchups in both games Sunday. So I'm looking forward to it.
Before we close out, I did want to ask you a question on your show. What are your thoughts about the Dylan Brooks, Shannon Sharpe, and Memphis Grizzlies situation that took place Friday night? Should Shannon have apologized, or was he wrong? Was everybody wrong? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why he had to apologize because, in the position that he's in, it's a bad look to, see you getting into it with some NBA players. So I can understand why he felt like he had to apologize. And you just have to be careful, Dylan Brooks, he's a fiery competitor. So I'm not surprised that when Shannon was talking junk to him, it kind of got left. Kind of went left, and they got into it. And I'm just glad that situation didn't escalate, and I'm glad that they were able to calm it down quickly because they didn't want no problems with Uncle Shay. I'm telling you that right now. uh, Especially John's dad. Shannon probably would have folded him up like a pretzel. uh, but yeah, I was shocked because I had took a nap and then I woke up and saw that the Grizzlies had got into it with Shannon Sharpe. I'm like, what? What happened? And then I wasn't surprised. He said Dylan Brooks said, well, he said that Dylan Brooks was too small for LeBron, and Dylan Brooks said "F you," and then it just went left from there, and then they started getting into it. So I can totally understand why he feels like it was a bad look for him to get into it with the Grizzlies because he's on such a high profile show. And he's a role model to people, so I can understand why he feels like he had to apologize and I feel like he had a good apology. You could tell it was sincere because he was talking about it for a good 2 to 3 minutes. So I definitely feel like it was sincere. What were your thoughts on it?
You know what? I don't believe he shouldn't necessarily apologize, but I can understand why he did. He's a grandfather, not just a father, but a grandfather. He's a brother. He talks a lot about the respect that he has for his older brother Sterling, and
Mm-hmm.
posted about a month and a half ago, I guess it was, what a text message Sterling had sent him about how proud their grandparents would be of him.
Mm.
Uh, that he used to be one that would go there when they were growing up. And he
Yeah,
said Sterling made it clear that he's seen the growth in him and how he's able to handle his emotions. And so I can understand why he apologized. But for me, I just disagree with the fact that Dylan Brooks and John, whoever else, was so upset. I mean, Shannon Sharpe telling you that you're too small to guard LeBron is not anything out of the ordinary.
it's
That's
true.
just trash talk, normal banter. What should make the game fun, what should make the game more intense, it's just nothing to that. I mean, Spike Lee has done stuff like that for 30 years.
Mhm.
Jack Nicholson, all these, high profile fans have done that. And so I just think that Dylan, whoever was so upset about that comment, you know, too emotional in that moment. I mean, that was nothing to be upset about. And then you have people saying that Shannon Sharpe is a hypocrite because he talked about on Undisputed how fans need to be respectful. And I want to say this, people on social media are very dense.
Amen.
You are comparing what Shannon Sharpe said about racial comments about people's kids, about stuff like that, to just somebody saying that you're too small. There's no comparison in that.
It's not.
Me, just to end off, I think that it's fun to see some trash talk.
It is.
What makes the game better? We don't. This is not church.
He said not church.
Yeah, go out there and say something to somebody, and then okay, if you don't like it,
Do
go shut
something.
next possession. Shut them down for 2 possessions in a row. Then you come back down to Shannon and say, "I thought I couldn't guard."
There you go.
It's really as simple as that. So that's my thoughts on that whole situation. But you know, uh, Shannon being a grown man, and like I said, being a role model, like you said, to so many people, and I don't have an issue, of course, with the apology.
Yeah, I mean, and the Grizzlies. That's I know, sir. It rubs certain people the wrong way, but I like how they play. They play physical. They gonna talk to you. I wish more teams would like that, but I know it rubs people the wrong way. But I like the Grizzlies the way they play. They're young and they're gonna talk to you. So I like it. But like you said, I don't know why they got so in their feelings about that. I mean, Dylan Brooks is too small for LeBron, so I don't know why he was tripping. So yeah, that was a good topic. I'm glad you brought that up, bro. Want to promote your pages before you get out of here, my guy, and tell people where they can find your podcast and all that.
So, my personal page is The Rough Way on Twitter, DARUFFWAY with the underscore. The Timeout Sports Twitter is Timeout Sports 3. Instagram is Timeout Sports with 2 underscores. And then you can follow my page for WNBA League Fits, where we highlight the style and the fashion of the ladies in WNBA. The Instagram is WNBA League Fits, and the Twitter is Fits underscore WNBA. So that's where you can find me. Also, the podcast is Spotify, iTunes, Time Out Sports Podcast. And for anybody that does support me, there will be some news on my behalf. Probably might be tonight or either tomorrow. So be on the look. Well, by the time this comes out, I just got the news. But anyway, just know that there is news coming. And continue to support this show. I want to say this: continue to support this show and the great work that Keith doing. It takes sacrifice to put in this time, and continue to just show your support, whether it's liking, retweeting, liking a video on YouTube, sharing it, all the people that that like sports, put them onto the show and try to help this brother to continue to grow.
Thank you for that, brother, and I can't wait to hear your big news. And I just want you to know I'm proud of you, and you keep up the good work, my guy.
Thank you.
Yes,
Talk soon.
Yes, sir.
Tapping in.